Let's look now at a little act of hospitality. We'll find that in 1 Kings 17. A little act of hospitality. All right, in this story, again, we're not going to cover it all because there's so much in it and we just don't have time. But I encourage you to read the whole chapter because it's an awesome story of just how God provides and takes care of his people. But I want to focus on this little part where Elijah, he has been commanded by God because they're in the middle of this drought and this famine. And so God said, well, I want you to stay by the brook Cherith and I'm going to have the ravens feed you and there'll be water from the brook. And I want you to just stay there and I'll take care of you. But before long, the waters dry up. And so God says, okay, it's time to move on. I want you to move to Zarephath. And a widow woman there is going to take care of you. Let's pick up the story there in verse 9. Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. And he called to her and said, Fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel, that I may drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, Bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. And she said, As the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first. Bring it unto me, and after make for thee and for thy son. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, The barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail, until the day that the Lord sendeth the rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he and her house did eat many days. This is an awesome story of, like I said, God's provision and how he takes care of his people. But here again, we see this phrasing, a little, a little, a little. God told Elijah, go to this woman. I've already commanded her to take care of you. But when he gets there, he sees this woman who's fixing her last meal for herself and her son and getting ready to die because they have so little food that they don't even have enough for them to survive much longer. And then here comes Elijah along and says, oh, I want some water and I want some cake, make me a little cake too. And she says, but I don't have enough. But Elijah said, God's promised he's going to take care of you. So do as I said, go get my cake, make my cake first, then make one for you and your son. And she did that. She acted in faith. She was hospitable toward Elijah, which was very much a way of the people back then. But she put his needs before her own. And in doing so, she obeyed his command and took God at his word that he was going to take care of her. And guess what? He did. It says they ate for many days. Now, I don't know if that's 10 days or 100 days or 2 years. I have no idea how many days is many days. But the point is, there was only a little bit. There wasn't even enough for tomorrow. They were having their last meal today. And they had nothing left for tomorrow or the next day or the next day. But because of her hospitality and her obedience to give that little bit that she had, she and her family were fed for many, many days. God took care of them. God blessed them. And God even took care of his own prophet through her. And you'll see that results in many things because he's taken care of. He's able to perform the work of the Lord and to continue his ministry. And it all resulted from just someone's willingness to give of what they had. She didn't have much food, but she gave it willingly. she gave it hospitably. And because of that, her house was blessed. The prophet was blessed. In the end, the land was blessed. And God was pleased because she was willing to give what she had, even when she thought it wasn't enough.